I'm Donna Kallner. I thought I'd give you a little peek at what it's like here during the spring willow harvest. We're having an extremely warm and early spring this year, so I've been rushing to get my willow cut before it starts to pussy and set out leaves. And this is how I do it. Kind of bent over and working my way backwards along the rows, picking with a knife. For me, a knife is a whole lot easier on my hands than pruning shears. But the knife has to be kept sharp for it to do its job easily and safely too. So I sharpen at the end of every row, sometimes more often, and I no longer feel like on the really big stuff I have to even try to cut it with a knife, because that tends to flare up tendinitis in the elbow. But on this beautiful, fine little willows in my prime beds, a knife makes cutting quick and easy, and the knife does most of the work. Just get it in there and let the knife do its job. Once I have all I can hold in my hand, I take and throw it on the pile, and that gives me a chance to stretch out my lower back. Now, a lot of people would kneel to cut. I got a bum knee, so that doesn't work as well for me. And I cut bent over. But it's also kind of handy to have the caboose holding the willow out of my way, less likely to poke me in the eye while I'm harvesting. This bed is 10 years old and still very productive. It's beautiful willow, even if it is getting a little on the weedy side now. Underneath all of here, there's a lot of decayed leaf matter from the willow leaves that have dropped that really needs to be raked up. But underneath all of this, when I planted this bed, is a layer of heavy-duty nursery grade landscape fabric. It's the kind of stuff that they put on the floor of greenhouses, and that really helps to keep the weeds in check, because once a bed is established, you don't really want it to have tons of time for maintenance. The first year I had a thick layer of mulch down, and it was a good thing because of our drought conditions at that time. The mulch helped to keep water in on the young plants, and that's really what they need. Willow doesn't have to be grown in a wet area, but it does need good water to get established. So for that first year or two, having that mulch down helped a lot. After that, I raked it off to give weeds less of a place to take on. And I love the fact that the willow is such a renewable resource. You plant it, you get a good start, and it comes back every year. You cut it, and it comes back, and just keeps growing. I have a lot of different uses for my willow. Some of the prime basketry stuff will get sold to basket makers. Some of the stuff I used to consider waste will be used in willow dyeing for fabric and yarns and threads. So anything that doesn't fit into those categories, like right here I've got some dead stuff. I'm going to get that cut out. That'll just get into the part that gets raked up, and that whole clump right there is dead. So that'll go on the compost pile. And eventually, even that part will break down, go back into the soil. As I get closer to the end of the row, my knife isn't quite as sharp as it was, so I know, I'm almost to the point where I'll start to think about wanting to sharpen it. But for the most part, you can see I'm not sawing away at things. I'm just using the tension and the blade to cut through the willow. And that bigger stuff, this here, you'll feel a little bit more tension. I think you can see how much heavier some of this willow is. And again, at the end of the row, I could have come from the other direction, but the sun would have been in my eyes. So some of this I may have to leave and come back for with the pruners, just to save my hands. Or get up and go sharpen my knife. That one's pretty big. Let's see if I can get it. It's a whole lot safer to work with a sharp knife than with a dull one. And my knife it's a grafting knife. I got it years ago from a nursery supply place called A.M. Leonard, which was recommended to me by Joe Campbell Amsler, who taught me just everything I know about willow. And it's a grafting knife with a curved handle and a curved blade. My rows are about 30 feet long. By the time I finish cutting a row, I'm ready to fold up my knife, take it and my willow in, sharpen the knife, take a little breath, get a drink of water. I'm going to sharpen my knife real quick with this little snap-on tool that Bill bought me a few years ago. All I have to do is slide the knife into the slot and draw it through. Test the knife. Keeping a really good sharp edge makes a huge difference. And this little tool I love. After sharpening on a stone for years, this one